On this episode of Balance and Manifest, Your Rise to Greatness, we sit down and talk with our friend, Kristen Cattell. Kristen tells her story of growing up with spondylolisthesis and participating in sports, family struggles, how she got injured during OCS in the Marine Corp, to becoming a CrossFit coach, youth leader for a nonprofit, and much, much more. Sit back and enjoy as Kristen opens up and shares her amazing story. Welcome to another episode of Balance and Manifest, Your Rise to Greatness, the podcast where our guests share their stories of overcoming hardship and fighting their way to success to help inspire and motivate others. I'm your host, Sean.
And I'm Sav.
If you guys could do us a favor, wherever you listen to this podcast, follow us. What do they call it? Like follow, subscribe, whatever your platform calls for. Listen to it, share it. And if you could, give us a rating. Ratings will help move us up the charts, and we can reach more people, get these stories out to more people, and hopefully help people, which is our ultimate goal. And as always, the show is brought to you by Nine Realms Athletics. You can follow Nine Realms Athletics on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, ninerealmsathletics.com, and listeners can use promo code MANIFEST for a little discount. We have a really cool new shirt that we're super stoked about that is out now. So go to the website and get you one. And it's cold weather, right?
Yeah.
And what do you wear in cold weather?
Warm stuff.
Warm stuff with hoodies and beanies.
Yeah.
Lions and tigers and bears, oh my. You can get those things, again, ninerealmsathletics.com. Please use that promo code MANIFEST for a discount.
We like to take care of our people.
So today we have a guest in studio. We call it in studio. It's in the kitchen, but
For
now, Kristen Cattell. How you doing?
Good. How about you guys?
Good.
So if you guys don't remember, Kristen is one of our first, we're going to say models.
Ow. Wow.
You like that?
Featured on our website.
Okay.
Damn, girl.
Wow.
And was in our first launch video.
Yeah.
Our
oh
first
my gosh,
launch.
that seems so long ago.
Wow.
And the launch video for Nine Realms Athletics.
Oh my goodness.
That was a fun day.
Yeah, that was a good day.
Let's just get pretty and lift things.
Yeah.
And awesome clothing. All right.
That's
I
what
can live that life.
that's the one rule I live by in life is get pretty and lift things.
I was very pregnant at the time. Like trying to get a resistance band around both of my feet was a challenge.
So Kristen and I have known each other for a long time.
Long time.
What, 15 years?
See, I was 21 when we met.
Yeah, how did you guys meet?
Like 12. Yeah, almost 15 years.
Yeah.
We met at a concert.
Was that where?
Sean
what
met
concert?
Sparta.
Where was that?
What was that place downtown? It's not there anymore. I know, it's so descriptive.
Was it the Last Day Saloon where I worked?
Yes, Last Day Saloon. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
that's right. Okay.
yeah, Sean was playing wingman for his boy.
We won't name names, but you dated one of my friends for a while.
I know who.
And we all used to go ride motorcycles.
Yep.
Kristen had her Mustang, and she had her motorcycle. What did you ride again?
I had a 2001 Ninja 500 in purple.
Ooh, that's a good color.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. And I had my piece of crap CBR 600.
Oh, that's right.
Is that the one that you had when I met you?
Nope, that was the VTX
The Honda.
1300. That was the big cruiser. Before I had a sport bike, which is the one I learned on.
We all had crotch rockets.
Oh.
Mhm.
Yep. And that's where we met forever ago.
Wow.
Long ass
That's
time
crazy.
ago.
I shouldn't be surprised that you met at a concert. You meet everybody at concerts. Everyone you know from back in the day. Oh, met at a concert. Oh, met at a concert.
Yeah, I met a lot of people at concerts. I had a fun childhood.
My social
Or
life.
is that a childhood? I don't know.
I was still a
Young,
child.
young adulthood.
Yeah, I had a good run.
Yeah.
It wasn't always good, but yeah, it was fun. Yeah, it's some fun. It's good times.
Ninja karate in the middle of the street. And oh, wait, we were together at that point.
I was going to say, how did I miss that one?
No. Full grown man child.
It's not the first time I've done that. I'm an expert at shirtless karate in the street. So Kristen is currently a coach, right? Trainer,
Correct.
coach, CrossFit, big into CrossFit. And so let's start.
This woman, my God. Goals.
I thought you were going to mention I was in a
Marine
cult or something.
firefighter, CrossFitter, hella good shape, like inspiration,
You're making me blush.
trains people. Also advocate for children to be better people. I mean, it's kind of saint-like, don't you think?
Yeah, I do. I'm all for kids being better people.
That's totally our goal.
Because we all know they need that these days.
Oh, yeah.
So let's start in. Well, yeah. So what are you doing right now?
Right now,
You're wearing many hats.
I am. So right now, I am a coach for CrossFit. Yes, the cult.
Where at? You can mention if you want to
Sonoma
mention
Strength
it.
Academy, CrossFit Pro Prius. If y'all ever want to drop in. I also am a personal trainer for clientele that's actively trying to pursue going to either fire academy, police academy, or going to boot camp. So, or people that are already in law enforcement or firefighting. So highly applicable skills that translate over from the gym to the job.
I'm going to throw out a little selfless plug. Just because it has to do with that. Hit up Kristen if you have questions. If you want to hear some insight on the mental side of going into a police academy, you can look up the Police Applicant podcast. And there's an episode where yours truly jumps on and talks about mental and physical preparedness for the police academy. So
That's awesome.
if you guys are so inclined to listen, I think it can help out.
Yeah, which actually brings me to my next hat, which I'm a RTO, recruit training officer for the pre-fire academy. So I'm basically their little bulldog. I go in there and I'm their drill instructor. I do a pickup day. So if any of you have ever been in the military, you know what pickup day looks like. And I reenact it the most the junior college will allow me to within their waivers.
And give your bodily dimensions because
Well, that's an awkward way of putting it.
height.
I'm about 5'3" and about 130 pounds and fairly small frame. So I'm very fortunate that most of that weight is muscle. Yeah. But when you're in a small human in clothing built for fire that they have not quite designed clothes for small females yet, no one can really. You look smaller than you actually are too.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Everything's bulky. So you look like you're walking around with your dad's clothes on or something.
Oh, no.
The big question everyone's going to want to know when it comes to the pre-fire getting ready, do you help prepare them for chili making? Or is it just...
Sean.
I'm just asking how to wash a truck? Calendar shoots? Is this a... Yeah, there's going to be a lot of cop firefighter rivalry
That's in
talk.
my special extension class. I don't know, Sean. Did you guys learn how to eat donuts?
Expert. I got this problem. I get bear claws 2 at a time, and I get them stuck right in here.
Where is in here?
Nobody. It's a Tommy Boy quote.
There's also no visual for these people, so in here makes no sense.
Well, I'm pointing at my chest region where you would get 2 bear claws stuck if you tried to eat them at the same time.
Oh no.
This is an amazing visual.
Anyway, back to Kristen. Next hat.
Next hat would be, I'm currently also running a nonprofit, youth leadership nonprofit. I'm the vice president. There's a program called the Pups that was originally established by a group of Marines that came back from World War II. So in 1954, they actually saw teenagers in Berkeley burning a flag and stomping on it. Yeah. So
Shocker, it's Berkeley.
Even back then.
Easy.
So they all came together and like, hey, this can't happen. Our youth is losing their pride for their nation. How can we bring that back? So they created the Devil Pups, which is very similar to the way the Boy Scouts of America is set up. Once a year during summer, teenagers get to go down to Camp Pendleton and get a full-on mini Marine Corps boot camp. For 10 days. They have drill instructors. They're learning close order drill. They're doing rucks up Old Smoky. If y'all ever been up there, you know how much of a break off, but how phenomenal it is. They're doing chow time. They're eating MREs, all sorts of things. They're jumping off of 40-foot platforms into water. It's great. But what myself and the president of our chapter, Clint St. Martin of Sonoma County Devil Pups, did was we came together and we turned it around into a full year-long program.
Oh, wow.
So now not only are we prepping these kids for camp, I have them training strength and conditioning once a week. They're doing close order drill. They're doing hip pocket classes on all sorts of stuff. Like I've taught a nutrition class. We teach them self-defense. I have guest speakers coming in from every single career they could possibly be interested in outside the military. So that way, yes, most of these kids are military bound, not all of them, but that way they have a plan of what they're going to do afterwards.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. And we're teaching them, we have a guest speaker that comes in and teaches them American history and civics. We are doing a bunch of community service projects. Like the one closest to my heart is we're doing Defendable space projects, which if our listeners know about the fires, Tubbs, Kincaid, Paradise, California fires are real. So what we did this last summer was we went around to people that didn't have the means or were not physically able to make a defendable space around their house. And we went out and we did the yard work and we cleared their house and prepared it for fire season. So if a fire did come, they had the best chance of survival.
That's amazing.
Like I said, saint-like.
These teenagers are great. I never envisioned myself ever working with teenagers. I've always been very awkward around kids, but these young men and women are just phenomenal and they drive me to be an even better person.
That's awesome.
Now, how do these kids get involved? Are these, is this a program for like troubled youth, or are they kids that are on that trajectory towards military, towards like they have something in mind? Or are they kids looking for direction?
It's
a combo.
Oh, it's a full spectrum. Yeah. So I have kids that were born, raised in great families, amazing parents that are good United States citizens that just want to go on the trajectory of military, any branch, doesn't have to be Marines. And then I also have some kids that they were on the wrong path. And this was the last straw, and their parents heard about the program as something that could potentially save them. And those are some amazing stories that unfortunately I can't share because they're underage. But yeah, we've definitely changed some lives. And
structure.
Providing structure, discipline, not only discipline from authority standpoint, respect for authority and elders, but also self-discipline.
Oh yeah.
It's and it's the 180 these kids have done into young men and young women. It's in the matter of a year. Yeah.
Is this a nonprofit?
It's a nonprofit, correct?
Okay, so we'll try to have you remind me. We'll try to tag or put links in the description for this for the nonprofit. Is there information on there where people can donate to help the nonprofit? Because these programs, people rely so much on. I'm not going to get into politics. We don't talk about that stuff here. from like a personal standpoint, but people rely so much on the government doing things. But let's be real, the government's not really good at doing anything. And there needs, I love the focus of community and people getting together to solve these problems. And organizations like this there's not enough of them, and they don't get the attention they deserve, and the funding they deserve to really reach out, because these kids aren't a number to you, to everybody else, to like foster care systems, to all that. Like they're just a number. It's just another name on a piece of paper, but you guys care about how these kids turn out. So you get invested and want to see them do better and change. So how would people get a hold of, is there a way that people can donate, or how does that whole function?
If you go to SonomaCountyDevilPups.com, we have a link to our giving website, Network for Good. It's also on our Facebook page, Sonoma County Devil Pups on Facebook. We currently are trying to get a little bit better at our social media. So Instagram is up. It's not fully functional, but if you ever have any questions as well, feel free to message us on the Facebook page at Sonoma County Devil Pups. And most likely Clint or myself will get back to you right away.
Awesome.
How did you get connected with them?
So after I was discharged from the Marines, for almost completely breaking my femur. It was a deep spiral fracture. I got back, and it was end of February 2020. So I got back, had a bacterial infection from the water in Quantico. A week later, was in the hospital for about a week. So when I got home, I was in a dark place. I was on crutches. I wasn't supposed to be hobbling around on my crutches for more than a few steps, honestly, less than 100 feet.
I know you were recovering from that last year, but when did it actually happen?
That the fracture happened it started as a stress fracture somewhere at the beginning of February, but I continued training on it. Yeah. And then we figured it out, and I was medically dropped at the end of February when I couldn't march anymore. Okay. Yeah.
So when did you get hurt?
February 2020.
February 2020.
Yeah, right before the whole world shut down for COVID.
So I'm just going to give you guys a little, Sav said that she's a badass. So injury is February 2020. May of 2021, you hit a PR squat of 215. And that was one of your first heavy lifts after?
Yes, that was that was my first heavy lift after. As the heaviest. That's actually, yeah.
And that was here in our garage gym.
Woo woo. That was a good day.
10-pound PR.
In such a short period of time. So just painting a picture for you guys on the badassness of. So back to your story.
So to kind of fast forward it, I didn't have the gym. Everything was shut down, and that was my outlet. That lifting was my outlet. That was the only thing I had to deal with my emotions, which like you said, I don't like feelings. Yeah. Feelings are hard, yeah.
Yeah.
So feelings are silly. So what ended up happening is one of my Marine Corps friends that was back home, David, he reached out to me and just to see how I was doing, because I was literally, all I could do was sit. And I was sitting with my crutches. He reached out to me. It's like, hey, my friend's got a garage gym. We're going to do Fight Club Garage Gym when we're all supposed to be quarantined and locked down.
Yeah, the problem is you're talking about it.
Oh.
First rule of
Fight Club.
Yeah.
First rule of CrossFit is always talk about CrossFit.
No, first rule of CrossFit is you have to talk about CrossFit.
Exactly. So long story short, we start working out with him and his friend in the garage gym. And when I was feeling better enough, everything started opening up a little bit more that summer, they still weren't going to have Camp Pendleton for the Devil Pups. And our friend Brandon that I was working out with at the time, he was in my position. He was the vice president of the organization. And he said, hey, we're going to do camp. We're planning on having girls. We can't have girls unless there's a female instructor on the premises at all times for, insurance purposes.
Right.
So I was essentially voluntold for that position. And here's the thing, though. I was only supposed to, it kind of progressed as all of a sudden all the girls decided to drop there was a couple of them that like had medical issues, and then a few of them that just their parents didn't want to make the drive. And then the last one's like, I don't want to be the only girl. So she was out. So it's all boys. And Clint's like, well, you don't have, since it's all guys, you're welcome to come and go as you please. Like, you don't have to be here the whole time. Any help you have, completely appreciate. All right, I'll pack my bag for the whole week. And then I live about 20 minutes down the road from the campsite because my parents are in the middle of nowhere. So I'll just pop home for a couple of nights and come back. No, so our lead instructors for that last minute decided to take on a job and didn't come to camp.
Oh.
So it was just going to be Clint by himself for the most part. Yeah, so I'm a ride or die kind of person. Once you have my loyalty, that's it. And I saw the value of this program, and I stayed all 8 days. I was up at 5 a.m. making sure my bun was perfect, and we didn't go back. And right before we did Reveille at 6 a.m. and woke up all the kids by slamming doors and screaming to get out of bed, shaking the racks.
Yeah.
And then Clint and I weren't going to sleep until probably like 2 a.m. because every day we had to like switch up the schedule and adjust accordingly. And after that, Clint's like, I want you on admin, you're in. And eventually things shifted, and now I'm vice president.
Woo.
Yeah.
That is quite a journey.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's only within a year.
Yep.
My God. Okay. Well, I mean, within the year, you've done a lot already. But I mean, coming back to like your roots and stuff, like how did you acquire all of these skills? I mean, you say your parents lived in the middle of nowhere. Obviously, it stems from family. How did you grow up?
So growing up in the middle, like as yourself, in the middle of nowhere,
Yeah.
I had a very small high school. Everyone knew each other's name. I grew up with one stay-at-home parent, which was a blessing and a curse. My father, when I was 3, was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. He started going blind when I was 5, slowly.
That's a part of
the MS.
Okay.
Yeah, most of the time when you hear about MS, it's people get
physical
in the legs.
Yeah.
The nerves behind his eyes were getting eaten away. So actually, if you look at him, like one eye goes up and down really, really fast, and the other one goes side to side really, really fast.
Oh, wow.
And so it creates this just blurriness at all times.
So what is, for people who don't know, if there's people who are dumb like me, what is multiple sclerosis?
The best way I can describe MS, and I'm just very lightly versed on what I know, there's 2 types. There is relapsive and there's primary progressive. So relapsive is the simplest way to put this, almost like having like MS episodes or attacks, where all of a sudden someone will lose use of their legs. And there's actually a lot of medications out there now that seem to be helping with it. And there's a lot of therapy like bee stings. Something about the venom in the bee sting actually helps reconnect the nerves. I saw it on a Discovery show one time. My father, though, has primary progressive, which means his nerves are deteriorating. And the nerves will deteriorate really bad, and then it will level out. And then it'll get really bad, and then it will level out again. So he's progressively getting worse in this time frame of, it gets really bad, like normally around September, actually. And then he stays at that level, and then he gets worse, and it stays the new worsened level. So he's at the point now where he's probably in about 80 to sometimes 90% blind. It gets worse during the day. He wakes up in the morning and he's fine from resting all night, and then by the end of the day, when he's been actively trying to focus, it's a lot worse.
It has its like own cyclical schedule.
Exactly, throughout the day.
Yeah.
So I grew up in the machine shop with him that we have on our property. He's a lot. I give him credit for the fight that I've had throughout my entire life of constantly fighting and having a work ethic. That is where I get it from. I do not take things lying down. I will let myself feel my feels and be sorry for myself for about 10 seconds, and then I'm back up at it. Because I saw him growing up every single day, being a mechanical engineer, welder, fabricator. He needed his eyes, but he wasn't employable. So he'd still be out there every single day on the tractor, welding in the garage, doing side projects for people, whatever he could possibly do, projects around the house. And I honestly feel that is why he's been able to maintain his eyesight this well for so long.
Wow.
Yeah.
To constantly try and keep using them, essentially.
Yeah, he does. He's stubborn too. He won't like I was telling you guys earlier when we were talking offline, when he got COVID, within 2 days he wanted to be back out on the tractor.
Yeah.
We still let him drive the tractor because he can only go like 2 miles an hour. So
Can't cause too much damage.
So where was mom?
Mom was was working most of the time. She was also the one driving me to school, driving me to sports and Girl Scouts and all that jazz. Her job was with the county. It wasn't really secure. So there were definitely days where she would come home worried that she was going to get laid off a lot. And that actually prompted me to go out and start work at 15. I was doing some under the table jobs for some other people. I won't disclose that. Child labor. But yeah, I got out as soon as I hit 15. I got myself that specialty work permit, and I got out and started trying to helping my parents as much as I could pay for my own extracurriculars like swim team, martial arts, anything like that.
It's a pretty adult thing at that age. I mean, you hear about kids having jobs, but I mean, to have a job and then still do all of those things, that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's very time consuming.
I don't know if it's changed, but I know when we were that age, that was like the thing.
Yeah.
Right? Like you say, working under the table. I started doing construction when I was 9 years old, 10 years old. My first like actual job, I got a paycheck when I was like 13, and then started working at 15. Like, so, but that was a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if that's still a thing, but your drive to, hey, I want to do these things, so I'm going to contribute and make them happen,
mm-hmm.
is huge at that age. Where did you learn that from? That drive of,
or was it involuntary because of your situation?
It was partially involuntary, just because I knew that's what needed to get done. And a lot of it from my mom and dad. Like my dad, like I said, every day just being out there and not letting his situation dictate his life. And then seeing my mom like go through her chronic diseases and her chronic illnesses, and still going out to work every single day because she knew she had to bring home the income, because disability doesn't pay anything to those people that actually deserve it.
Yeah.
It's not something you can live off of. Even though she was exhausted, because she was also every night would go home and she was the main caretaker for my grandmother as well.
Wow.
So I saw that. I think subconsciously I picked up on her level of caring and just constantly pushing herself to the limit of, as soon as she gets off work, she picks me up. We go take care of grandma for several hours, and then we go home. We take care of dad and dinner, and we're right back at it the next day. I think that's another spot that I really get that I need to help support wherever I possibly can. This is a team effort here.
Yeah,
it's family.
It's a family unit.
Yeah.
That's awesome that you had that togetherness.
Yeah.
To kind of fight it out and that sort of thing. That's amazing.
Thanks.
So coming through your teenage years, then, okay, so you have a job, you're doing all these extracurriculars. What happens after high school?
Well, for fitness, to give you a little context on my fitness journey throughout, during high school, I was not allowed to play school sports.
Oh, wow.
I was only allowed to do swim team because I was considered a liability. I wasn't allowed to even do PE. So I have.
What does that mean?
So I have a birth defect in my back. It's called spondylolisthesis.
Oh, wow.
And what is my vertebrae didn't properly fuse. And it actually, L1, the lowest vertebrae, slips off my pelvis. Full slip right off.
Oh, wow.
On top of that, the disc slips backwards. And then on top of that disc, L2 slips forwards to compensate. So I think I have a photo of it somewhere on my Instagram. My vertebrae kind of does this zigzag thing. Yeah. And we found out when I was figure skating because I used to be my sport. I had Tara Lipinski and Michelle Kwan, all of those awesome Olympians. Like they were my drivers athletically when I was about 8. So I was competing in figure skating, and I actually fractured my L1. And I was one day just during practice was grabbing my back, and my mom's like, what's wrong? I'm like, my back hurts. And my coach's like, you're too young for back problems.
You're all awesome.
She was wrong.
Did somebody Tanya Harding you on the
just in the spine?
Yeah.
Baseball bat. No, it was just from all the jumps and landings, the constant impact on it. It was so weak that the vertebrae just fractured. And we found out, and my doctor at the time, a little old school medicine of, let's just wrap you up in a bubble, and as soon as you turn 18, we're going to shove a metal rod up your spine.
Like as a fusion?
Yeah, as a fusion, to fuse it together so that way it doesn't do anything. There was no talk of physical therapy, nothing. So I went throughout my entire half of my elementary career and my entire high school career of, if I want to play a sport or do anything active, I had to have specialty waiver signed, and it had to be basically approved by my mom. I was treated like a porcelain doll.
Yeah.
Like swimming was the only thing I could get signed off on because it was zero impact.
Yeah.
I did martial arts because I promised my mom that as soon as my back hurt that I would stop.
Okay.
Which martial art did you do?
At that point I was doing Kenpo, American Kenpo. Later on in life I did Kyokushin. We might dabble in some jiu-jitsu later. We'll see.
Did you deal with chronic pain at all, or
all the time? There were several times where my dad and the neighbor would have to come pick me up from school because I was in excruciating pain where I couldn't move. I was balled up in fetal position on the ground, and then randomly I just lose all feeling in my legs. And so the only way that we could do it, like get any relief, was heat. So I'd end up just having to sit in the bathtub for like an hour until the muscles kind of stopped spasming and just released.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was standing around hurt for anything longer than a few minutes. Sitting cross-legged hurt. Any impact, so I couldn't even run. That bothered it as well.
I mean, I've had injuries before, and as you know, my mom has back issues too, but it is a special kind of pain. Back injuries are a special kind of injury compared to like limb injuries. It's no joke. Anyone who has a family member or friend with back pain, be empathetic, because it is intense.
Yeah, it's not like a leg or an arm where you can still work out all these other things. You just kind of have to baby that one side. It's your core, it's your legs, it's your lats, it's everything.
Yeah, and it's a different feeling.
Yeah.
Different pain. My God.
I really don't have a way to describe it, but
I don't know
if you know it, you know it.
As an adolescent in that much pain.
Yeah, like I said, porcelain doll, unfortunately.
Oh.
But
so at 18, did you end up getting surgery?
No, I was highly lucky that right before I turned 18, we found a new doctor. When I was really in pain again, something else triggered it. I can't remember what. And my mom kind of got tired of the other doctor talking back to her all the time. Go, Mom. So she sent me to a new doctor who believed in physical therapy and was the one to sign off on
Weird.
He explained to me, this is where I got my first introduction on, if you strengthen the muscles, it stabilizes the joint and the bone, and it's going to be less painful.
Weird.
What a concept.
Yeah.
So he put me in physical therapy, and I was allowed to do swim team, and he had me do some pool physical therapy as well, which I absolutely loved. And that, he told me, hey, look, if you want to reconsider this when you are 21 for getting the metal rod in there, like, we'll do it. But keep in mind, we put that metal rod and you're going to be in a wheelchair for 6 months. You're never going to heal right the same ever. And what was funny though is a little bit later in life when I was getting my L1 for CrossFit, my certification as a coach, I met a woman with the exact same thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which it's so weird to hear about other people. There's different levels of spondies, but spondylolisthesis was a very specific one that isn't that common. I met her and she had the surgery. Told me she regretted it every single day of her life, especially after she got into a car accident post-surgery. So then the rod shifted, the vertebrae shifted, and she has no mobility, and she's just constantly in light pain now.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Well, that was going to be my question. Do you, up until that point, had you considered the surgery, or did you regret not getting it?
I considered it for a very hot second, but as an active kid who doesn't like being told what to do, as soon as the word 6 months in a wheelchair came out of the doctor's mouth, I was just like, no, there's gotta be I'd rather deal with the pain than getting that. Because even as a kid, even though I wasn't as versed as I am in anatomy now and bone structure, something in my gut was telling me like, that's invasive, even though I didn't even know what invasive was at the time. I'm like, that just doesn't seem right. Yeah.
So how old were you when you started going to this doctor?
I was 17. So it was like right before that whole 18-year-old, like, let's get the surgery.
Yeah.
So what did you do to start strengthening, to start supporting the spine?
So like I said, he had me go to physical therapy, but I basically accidentally kind of started doing it without really knowing I was strengthening my spine. When I started dabbling in the gym, and I had friends that started getting me to go to 24-hour fitness. They're like, hey, you can't work out anywhere else. Like you can't get your sports in at school. So let's go to the gym, try walking on the treadmill, and let's do like 12 bicep curls for 3 sets and all that jazz. So that's when I started dabbling in the gym rat world. And at one point, I stayed consistent with that throughout college, but it was very much let's jump on the treadmill and like go for like 30 minutes at a walk run and then go do a little circuit and some little core stuff. I was kind of very much becoming a cardio bunny. Once I figured out I could run in college, I had some friends tell me that they wanted to do it wasn't the Spartan, it was the Tough Mudder. And at that point in college, I'm like, F you doctors, I can do what I want. Ain't nobody here to tell me what I can't do. Like, y'all tell me I can't do this, I'm a freaking porcelain doll. F that. We're like, no, we're going. I'm not even sure how this is going to feel. I'm probably going to be excruciating pain afterwards. I don't give a shit. I'm going to do this. I'm going to say I freaking did this. Like, let's go. So then I started following the Tough Mudder like training program that I found on their website, because I'm like, I don't know how to train for a obstacle course.
We're gonna fucking do this. How do I do this?
I'm really good about that, by the way. I'll be like, yeah, I'm in. All right. How?
But sometimes you just have to jump head first in.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Sink or swim.
You got to figure it out somehow.
Yep.
And so I started doing like lightly easing into trail runs and more like the calisthenics and like burpees and pull-ups and stuff like that. And during the Tough Mudder, this is the main like turnaround point, I think, for my fitness journey. And this is where it really kicked into full gear, and just being able to celebrate what my body is actually capable of, even though people have been telling me no all my life. Is I was on that Tough Mudder and I was having, it was like 14 miles, I think, in Tahoe. And I think we were like 8 miles in. and I was feeling phenomenal. It might have been some of the pre-workout since that was my first experience with C4 ever.
I was hoping you were going to say Jack 3D, the original formula.
It could have actually been. All I know is my friend handed me some sort of pink thing, a liquid in a water bottle, and told me to chug. And I was literally running, like, keep in mind at that point I was 5'3" and really tiny. I was like $113 soaking wet.
Oh, wow.
So I'm literally running like half a mile down, and then like, guys, where are you? Turn around and run back. Guys, come on, there's another obstacle.
That wasn't C4. that was liquid meth.
Hearing colors and seeing sounds.
Yeah.
This is amazing. What did you give me? I distinctly remember Nick looking at me. He's like, "Oh, I've made a mistake."
Yeah, small
Created
human,
a monster.
lots of caffeine. Yeah.
But we were like about 8 miles in. My body was feeling great. I was feeling great. I start chatting with this guy that was in our running group that I didn't even really know. And he's like asking me how I trained for it. And I explained, like, I went on the website, and I'm like, how'd you train for this? He's like, oh, I just went to CrossFit. CrossFit? What's that? He's like, oh, if you love this stuff, you'll love it. Just go check it out. Go check it out. And as soon as I got back to Chico, which was where I was going, Chico State, go Wildcats. I walked into what we in CrossFit called a box, and they introduced me to my first barbell. And it was a little trainer bar. It was 15 pounds. I could not overhead squat it at all without falling over.
Oh my gosh.
I distinctly remember learning how to deadlift and getting really excited and texting Sean that I had deadlift a whole 95 pounds.
Woo!
And I wanted to hit 100 at least by the end of summer. And I was so proud of myself.
What year was this?
This had to be about 2012, 2013. Probably 2013.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
So that's like right in the middle, in the midst of me going through my, like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing, and I'm learning and connecting with people over the same thing. Like, I look back now and I'm like, that was nothing. But
Yeah.
it's such a big, like, you get that high from, it's like, who can I text? Because I got this squat, I got this deadlift, and it's like that was at the same time we're both learning, by just doing and figuring it out.
Yeah. So it was an emotional and physical, as well as physical, like, turning point in my life where I really realized, like, all these you can'ts were actually, no, I can. Someone just needs to teach me the proper way to do this. And it progressed from there. Once you got that barbell in my hand, I was a whole new woman. There were times where I had to back it off because my back did hurt. Like, certain movements didn't, like, aggravated it. But a few years, that was it. That was my passion now, though. I could celebrate, like, being a strong person, and I could actually do these things I was told I couldn't ever do my whole life. And there was this distinct moment in 2018 at the CrossFit Games. I normally am one of the team leads for the athlete control, so we're backstage. It's awesome. And I realized I was in charge of North Lot that year, the giant, like, football field that we have the rig on, the Zeus rig, and the obstacle course. And I literally was standing around and running laps around that. I looked back at my tracker, and it was about 15 miles of just running back and forth on that football field, trying to organize people and organize athletes and, like, get athletes off the field. Like, no, Frazier, you can't just hang out there. You need to get off. Other people need to you have places to be, dude. And it was the end of the day because athlete control is the first on deck and always the last to leave. And we were standing there, and I realized I had not sat down the whole day. I had been on my feet the whole day on cement, running, standing, running again. and I didn't feel it at all in my back. I almost started, like, I'm not a crier. I lost my shit.
Yeah.
Like, I started just almost bawling, and they're like, what's wrong? I'm like, you don't understand. Like, this, I wouldn't have been able to do this like 5 years ago. There's no way I would have been able to do this. I would have been, you guys would have had to wheel me out, like full on wheelchair, because my back would be lit up and I wouldn't be able to feel my legs. And I just did this like a normal human being.
Yeah.
And I feel great.
No pain.
No pain.
Oh my God. And so I was going to ask you, like, how did you navigate? Did you just navigate your training based off of the pain, or was there some sort of strategic structure behind, like, okay, I need to tiptoe around this sort of thing?
It was a little bit of both. As soon as something, I kind of knew, so even though I had like no clue about anatomy back then, I kind of knew like certain movements, hollow rocks, anything in the hollow hold position, really aggravated it. Sit-ups aggravated it for a long time. I think it was just that, it was, now looking back, it was that hyperextension. And so I just knew like, okay, this is how it feels right before the pain starts actually getting bad and becoming an issue. So I need to back off of this movement completely.
Gotcha.
And then as I really started to understand the mechanics of my body, and of everyone, muscles and how they work and how everything's connected, I now know, all right, when my back does have those one-off issues, or it's probably because I wasn't bracing my core, or my psoas is tight, or I need to strengthen different parts because I'm letting myself go into hyperextension, which is aggravating it because I'm not lifting correctly with my mechanics. So now everything I do is very calculated around that back health, especially since I just had another issue, which was my own fault. I overtrained. Rest days are important. Rest days are not for 7-mile hikes with 35-pound backpacks. That's not a rest day.
What's a rest day?
So I had to really learn how to re-navigate that all over again, just actually these last few months. But now I know what I have to do in my warm-ups every single day consistently to activate the right muscles so my back isn't taking on that extra strain and I'm keeping the muscles around my spine nice and strong.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
So you are actually in a good place physically, and you were strong when you were doing all these things with CrossFit. When did you get into the military, and how did that work with your back?
I hope they're not listening right now.
You don't have to go into it if you don't want to.
No, it's all good. So that happened. I actually joined the military later in life. I was working for CrossFit headquarters as a project manager, and also as a full-time employee as a project manager, and then also helping out the games because that's just what the whole office did. Because that was like we call it our fitness camp.
That's cool.
It's our adult summer camp.
That's awesome.
It's amazing. And CrossFit, there's a lot of military culture within the CrossFit community. Dave Castro, the director, was a BUDS instructor for the Navy SEALs. I worked with multiple Marines. There was a lot of veterans within our company, and it was very much run in a very militaristic culture. All the good stuff though, like it wasn't like the people were like Dave Castro was very, very direct. And just, you don't need to say please or thank you. Just, this is what I need. But it was also that camaraderie. Totally. There was a camaraderie, and there was we're going to, no matter what, even if this is not your responsibility, it's our company, it's our baby, it's our lives, it's our family. We're going to put in whatever extra hours we need to get this done and get it over the finish line together. We're going to help each other out, even if it's completely not in your department at all. Like there were times where media was there, and for broadcasting the games, I'm project management, I'm redesigning the website. Like that's nothing to do with me. But no, I will more than happily like bring you guys dinner and we'll stay here and just try and keep your spirits up and do some workouts with you at like midnight while we're broadcasting from the other side of the world.
I love that. I didn't realize that about the company and just the CrossFit culture itself.
Yeah. So, unfortunately in, 2019, it's all blending together right now. Everyone in the CrossFit community knows this. You can watch it on the documentaries as well. I'm in a couple of them. There was a mass layoff, 3 rounds of mass layoffs.
Oh, wow.
The owner, Greg Glassman, just decided he wanted to restructure based off of some gut feelings of where he thought the company should be going. And the entire office got the axe. We went from like almost 200 to less than 20.
Whoa.
Yeah. And it was devastating. That was honestly the job I thought I was going to be at my entire life. That was it. That was the end all. This was my people. This was like my family. Like these aren't my coworkers. Like I love going to work. I love seeing like my friends. They're my friends. They're my family. There's dogs roaming the freaking hallways, like in packs that you just go around and you pet, and there's cold brew coffee on tap. Like it's amazing.
Yeah.
You get to work out all the time.
This is headquarters of CrossFit.
Yes.
So I don't think a lot of people know, because I didn't know, CrossFit it's not a thing, right? It's not just something you do. CrossFit is a name, right? So like for a box or a gym to use CrossFit, it has to meet certain criteria, correct?
Correct.
And it's like a membership kind of thing.
Yeah, it's an affiliation. So CrossFit is the brand. It is the company. And then you have individual gyms that are affiliates that you have to have. The owner has to have at least a level 1 certification and has to submit a affiliate fee to have legal protection, utilize the name, get all the branding, all that jazz. And so the thing that is different between a franchise and affiliate, a franchise, you have McDonald's, you have Starbucks. Every single McDonald's, every single Starbucks looks exactly the same.
Yeah.
They run exactly the same. Everything is 100% cloned. An affiliate, we're like, here's our core values, here's our mission, here's our training of what we do and what we want from you. Now go out and run your own business and make it yours and make your community, however you see fit.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So it really gives, as a small business owner, it gives a great platform and identity. So people, when they look for CrossFit, because they know it, will find you. But you have liberty to run that gym however you want. And it's empowering, but also gives you the stability of the name of CrossFit.
Which I kind of think, almost sounds like you can kind of, yes, it's the same name, but you can kind of go to whatever gym fits your own niche or behavioral or attitude or motto, or whatever it may be, it sounds like.
It really is. Yeah, you definitely can. Every gym community is completely different. And you can find that gym that's more of the fire breathers, that's highly competitive and everyone's like supermoto. And you can also find the gym that's more like family oriented, or just like your moms and retirees that just want to go in and get sweat for like an hour.
Yeah.
And then there's ones that are mixtures of the both. And then every gym has different programming too. It's the same methodology, same modals, but all slightly different, and some of them are paired together better than others, or some gyms offer extras like yoga or like powerlifting or like functional bodybuilding sort of stuff.
I see.
Yeah.
So, what happened after the layoff?
So after the layoff, I ended up moving back in with the parents. Because it was a smart thing to do rather than trying to pay rent in Santa Cruz.
100%.
Yeah. And I knew in my heart, as a project manager, I had the capability of going back to tech and going back to 6 figures and all that jazz. But I didn't want to. I didn't feel like doing things in tech was changing the world for the better. I didn't feel like I was making an impact. I didn't feel like that was my calling. Making routers that give it faster internet to people doesn't excite me. Sorry, guys.
What? Does that excite you?
You want faster internet?
I got
Call me.
So I did a lot of soul searching, living with the parents, and it was honestly like, it was almost, I compare that to the worst breakup I've ever had in my life. No breakup with a guy has ever been as bad as getting laid off from that job.
Well, yeah, they're like, here, we're going to make you a part of our family. Joke.
Bye, Felicia.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what quite drew. I think I sat down one day is what it was. I sat down. I'm like, all right, what's important to me? What values are important to me from this job that I need in my next job? And I was applying jobs left and right. I think I probably applied to Black Rifle like 100 times, guys. So if you ever want to call me back. And all those values kept coming back is camaraderie, doing something that's bigger than myself, helping others. Because that was a huge thing where I know how much CrossFit saved my life in a lot of ways with my back and going through some hard emotional times as well. So I wanted to do something that would make an impact and a difference for others. And every time I circled back with that, like, it went back to that idea of, I kept getting told no as a kid. What's the one thing I really wanted to do that I was told, no, you can't do it? I wanted to enlist. So I started calling. I'm like, I'm 30 at that point. Started calling around and called a couple of recruiters. I think I walked into the Army recruiter first, and he was lost and confused because he was just he was an enlisted Army recruiter, and I found out because I had a college degree, I go officer route.
Yeah.
Didn't quite vibe with him, but found that at least led me to, all right, as you're like older, like old for the military, I'm using air quotes right now, is still acceptable, especially with officer. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to do this right. I'm going to go talk to every single branch, and see which one I vibe with and just see if this is actually plausible, something I could do. Found, the Marine Corps recruiter, and just that he wasn't even acting as a recruiter during the entire time. We were just literally there, I think, bullshitting the whole time. And I'm like, these are my people. This is my culture. And I vibe with these guys the best. I know it's not the highest paying or they don't have the fanciest things, but these are my grunts.
But did they talk? Rah, 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 rah.
He handed me a crayon to eat.
Speaking Marine.
He was like, here, the purple ones are the combat ones.
Yeah.
Purple tastes like grape.
Pretty much. And that's it. From there,
And you were sold?
I was sold. That one sitting, I think I slept on it not even 24 hours. And I was like, that's it. Send it. Let's go. Oh crap! Now I gotta tell mom.
Yeah.
And they were fine with the. Did you have to get like special medical clearance or
For my spleen, or the lack thereof, and my tattoos.
All right.
Yeah, the back thing
enough
wasn't
said.
an issue.
Yeah.
No pain.
No
Yeah.
pain, no issue.
Yeah. So how did mom react?
She cried a lot.
Like happy cry or
Oh no!
you are not
I
gonna
get
do
the
this.
full blown Italian guilt trip.
Oh, jeez.
I don't think she talked to me for like a day. She just cried, and then she came back, and then she cried some more, and then eventually I talked her into it. I'm not sure how I talked her into it at all, but by the time I was training with the other OCS candidates, officer candidate school candidates, and I think the major turning point was I came back from a pool function, which is when your entire recruiting office gets together. When you're an officer, they call you candidates. When you're recruited, they call you poolies until you get to until you get to boot camp. So I was with my other candidates, and we were down in the South Bay doing a PT course, and we get back, and that was I think that was the morning of It's All Running Together Now. Was it the Ellen? No, it wasn't LNU. It was Kincaid. It's the Kincaid fire.
Okay.
And I start getting the NICS alerts, and we get back mid-afternoon, and I noticed that my area is under advised evacuation. And so I just call my mom, like, hey, let's just get a couple things together, like, stay calm. And I told the guys, and they're like, oh, well, let us know if you need anything. And I didn't know them that well at the time. So I was like, oh, they're just being polite. And all of a sudden, our advised evacuation goes into mandatory evacuation. Get out now. In the middle of the night, with a blind father, a mother who can't see it that well at night and is full-blown anxiety attack panicking, my sister who is turning to a bottle of wine and not
doing anything.
help, not driving out to help, and just telling us to get to her house, and me trying to hold everything together and just pack up whatever we possibly can, any valuables, paperwork, just whatever we can get together, while also staying on the phone with my friend who's a deputy sheriff in the area, just be like, hey, how much time we got, and getting time hack updates from him. And at one point, I'm like, I'm one of those people that am super stubborn. I can do everything. Like, I got this. No one needs help. I don't need help.
Right.
At that point, I'm like, I can't do this. I need help.
Yeah.
And I just sent a text to the guys, like, okay, it's hit or miss if they're actually going to follow through on this. Like, guys, this is the address. Like, is there any possible way you guys can just, like, come by, help me load up, because mom is melting down. Dad can't see to help. We have a cat that's somewhere that we got to get. And I can't move fast enough by myself. And it was like, literally, say no more. We're on our way.
Oh,
with a truck. We're on our way. That was the introduction to my candidates that became two of my very close friends. And I think when my mom saw them and them helping us without even knowing me really that long, or even knowing the family or anything, and they just came out, what do you need? And, like, evacuate us within, like, 10 minutes to my sister's place, even grabbed my motorcycle, which is awesome. My baby, my Ducati Scrambler. I think that's what changed her mentality of, I saw you guys interact. I saw the camaraderie between all of you. Like, I can see this is what's good for you. Like, no, you go and you have my support.
Yeah, she kind of saw through your eyes and why you wanted to do it. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, that's intense.
Yeah.
That's a lot. Some scary shit.
Yeah.
Fires are no joke.
No. But, yep. And then shipped a few months later, in January, shipped off to OCS.
Of what year?
January 2020.
And where was that at?
Shit.
That was in Quantico, Virginia.
Quantico.
Yeah.
Isn't that where the FBI training center is?
It is.
Yeah.
Yep.
See, I know things.
NCIS, FBI, yeah.
God, I didn't realize that it was so recent.
Yeah.
My God.
Yep.
Yeah, just a couple months ago. So you go out there January 2020 and you start, like, basic training?
Yeah, it's basically the officer version of boot camp. So officer training is broken into two sections: OCS, Officer Candidate School, and then you receive your commission. At the graduation, you receive your commission, your EGA, your Eagle, Globe, and Anchor. And then from there, you then go to TBS, the basic school, which is a 6-month-long infantry school where, well, it's similar, very much an infantry school where they're teaching you from a leadership standpoint, and how to be more of that platoon sergeant rather than enlisted
Yeah,
So
you are leading the group rather than being in the
you're
group
going,
itself.
exactly. So we need the exact same training the enlisted guys do, but we're going into expected to know our shit and how to delegate
Compose,
tasks and stuff. Yeah. Which is always funny when you get what we call butter bars, lieutenants, the gold little bar, trying to tell a very seasoned gunny what to do.
That was always like
there's like a little battle, right, between enlisted and the officers.
a little.
I'm not.
It's that conversation was had when I was in ROTC. That was a huge conversation amongst us. It was like, okay, we're coming right out of college, having to tell, these 46-year-olds who have been in for 20 something years what to do. What?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what? So there is, I mean, obviously I'm sure there has to be that relationship built, and I don't know exactly, but that's always, when I was in training, that was a huge conversation of how to go about doing that at the time.
Yeah. And the proper way to do that, honestly, is as that freaking brand new shiny butter bar, you really should be utilizing your NCOs around you and just knowing they have been in the game a lot longer than you have. Yeah, you went to college, but most of these
Whoop-de-whoop.
Yeah, most of these kids that were in OCS with me, because I was the old lady of OCS at age 30, they thought because they went to college, they had real life experience. I was like, myself and maybe two others had actually been out in the real world with careers, for me, multiple careers. And then we had 2 Mustangs as well, that of course were super dialed in, awesome women. That if you don't know what a Mustang is, it's when enlisted personnel decides to become an officer within that branch. And they're the best. I absolutely love them.
We had a guy that did that too.
Yeah.
Well, because they get the best of both worlds, right? They see it from both sides. I kind of feel like that would be the ultimate.
That's the ultimate, yeah.
Yeah.
Like you're an
That's
officer, you can
you want.
see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Were you intimidated going into that environment, coming from that background of not having that experience, but having experience, or did that life experience help you?
The life experience definitely helped me a lot. Did everyone loses their mind a little bit at OCS? I definitely I think what got to me, honestly, was I wasn't prepared for responding properly. Like PT was freaking down. I had like my academics down. Like movement to contact was my freaking thing. I could like give an op order, no problem, back, left and right. I loved rifles. Like rifle was my calling, like shooting freaking, like I said, locate, close with, and destroy the enemy. That's what I absolutely loved. I don't know where that came from, but, but what actually threw me off the most was I wasn't prepared to talk in the third person. I wasn't prepared I didn't understand, didn't go in with prior knowledge of like the proper greetings of the day. And I thought a lot more of the candidates would have had little experience like I did on that side. Well, apparently everyone else's pools, their OSOs, Officer Recruiting Office, had prepared them for that part, all the vernacular. And so
oh wow,
there was a lot of times where I like sat there, I'm like, wait, how am I supposed to say this? Like so that's what threw me off. And then drill threw me off hard because we did not drill enough. And of course I'm trying to sit there and think about where my feet need to be going, but where I need to be looking and
what you need to be saying.
I can't all of a sudden I couldn't remember which side was my left or my right. And it was just, I had my drill instructor who was like, coming out of this, looking back at it, I loved her, but in it, she was like this fiery redhead that took no shit from no one. And I remember she just like knew how to like stab at your soul. And so I have her yelling at me, like telling me that I shouldn't be there because I couldn't drill. And I was like, but it's drill.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I actually love drill now, and I start calling people trash at Fire Academy under my breath when they can't drill. It's all right. I call the whole class trash. It's not an individual, so therefore it's okay.
Yeah. Equal opportunity.
Yeah.
So you're there, and how did you get hurt?
So the theory is it started as a stress fracture. We were on a 6-mile ruck. We had about 70-pound packs, which is more than half my body weight. And we had to keep up with the guys, of course, obviously. I did not know that if you elongated your stride. So in my brain, I was like, I'm going to elongate my stride so that way to keep up with the guys who are like freaking 6 foot something. So that way I keep my heart rate down, because I know I have better muscular endurance than I do cardiovascular endurance. That's where my domain is. And I wasn't aware of the mechanics of that, especially with weight. So it started putting stress on my femur, and that's when it started hurting. In my brain, it was just, oh, my quad hurts.
So muscular hurt.
Yeah, I thought it was just like, I've dealt with tight, sore quads before. Like, I've pulled a quad during a powerlifting meet and still finished. Like, I'll be fine. I literally have 2 weeks left of training, and then I'll go to medic. Then I'll go to the corpsman. I'll get medical checkout. Like, but I can't get dropped. I refuse to get dropped. Like this, and every time you had to go to medical in the morning, it took hours. Like, and you lost so much of your time with your instructors and getting your stuff done and chow in the morning, and you just kind of, you're like, yeah, it was annoying. If you've ever been through the process,
You just kind of suck it up and deal with it.
exactly.
Yeah.
So I sucked it up, and I'm like, whatever, I'll get over it. 2 weeks of like a quad tear, it's fine. Well, after that, we did the CFT, combat fitness course on it, combat fitness test, which involves 235 ammo cans, running up and down with those, buddy carry, buddy drag, low crawl, high crawl, throwing a grenade, an 880 meter boot and utes run in boots, and then like max rep ammo can presses overhead. And it was still kind of bothering me on the run on the 800. But I just, once again, blew it off. Then we did I proceeded to still do the obstacle course on it. And then the endurance course, which was, I believe it was about 5 miles. I think, yeah, it's about 5 miles with multiple obstacles. You're running in boots and utes with your rifle. You're going all over the Quantico woods, going up and over like nets. And there's this one part called the stairs, where they are sets of 3 to 4 stairs. It's about a 6-foot drop, and you hold your rifle crossbody, and you literally just look forward and you take a step. And then your goal is to just land at that 6-foot drop as lightly as possible in like a quarter squat. Try to absorb the impact in your knees. Mm-hmm. Every single drop, and there was 3 sets of them, every single drop, I felt pain radiate straight up my leg from my knee into my femur up into my hip.
Oy.
And that's when I kind of knew something else was wrong, but
This is not just muscular.
Yeah. I still just like gritted straight through it. I felt I was being really hard on myself because I was coming out like middle of the pack instead of front of the pack on it. And I went to I remember going to the corpsman afterwards, like, hey, my leg's kind of bothering me. Like, is it like, is it better right now for our schedules if I like come by now, or if it's like, or do you think it's just okay if I try and sleep it off, and then if it absolutely is bothering me in the morning, then I'll come see you guys? He's like, well, what do you feel? I'm like, I'd rather come by in the morning. I don't want to drop out now. We still have a full day of drill, classroom, etc. All right, come by in the morning. I'm like, all right. Well, as the day goes on, my leg keeps becoming more and more painful the more we are marching to classrooms, the more we're running around in our boots and with our assault packs on. And finally, at one point, we are marching to evening chow. And I thought I was high. Every single step hurt so much. But I was like, I'm hiding this so well. Like, no one's going to notice. I'm just going to like keep marching. And I totally got this. And I'm in step and I'm looking good. And next thing I know, my platoon sergeant comes up to me. Gunnery Sergeant Ailish. Love that woman. She's like, Tao, what are you doing? Marching, Gunnery Sergeant. So much confidence. That's not marching. That's limping. I, Gunnery Sergeant? Go to medical in the morning. I, Gunnery Sergeant.
Oh, no.
So went to medical in the morning and they put me on bed rest for 3 days, which is like an eternity at OCS. Finally, and they did an x-ray of my knee, thinking it was a knee problem. And it came back fine. And normally like x-rays or MRIs are like death sentences at OCS, because the moment they find a stress fracture, you're done. You're out. That's you're gone. And I freaked out a little bit then. And then she reassessed me. The physical therapist reassessed me 3 days later, and she's like, you're still walking weird. Something's not right.
Yeah.
So that's when she x-rayed my femur. And I was sitting there and waiting for the x-rays, and she came out and she sat me down. She's like, you have a full-blown spiral fracture. I don't even need to have an MRI. It is plain as day. This isn't a stress fracture. It's full-blown fracture in your femur. And I lost all bearing at that point. I think the poor corpsman in there was like, he just kind of like silently brought me some tissues and like awkwardly walked off. Like, he's like, I don't know how to deal with this. And I was like, I don't want to be crying right now, but I've put my heart and soul into this and I know I'm going home. I tried like requesting mass. I tried to fight it so bad. I'm like, no, just let me finish. I have one more event at the end of that event. And I have one more written exam, which I know I'm going to pass. Like, I've been kicking the written exams butts. I've been studying my ass off. Like, and I like, just let me do the last graded event, which was a 9-mile ruck through the woods. And then,
that's it. No big
I'll
deal.
crawl if I have to.
Well, then about 20 miles of movement to contact, drills, as well as you're acting as a platoon sergeant and you're commanding your platoon. But altogether ends up being about 20 miles. And I went to my platoon commander and I'm like, I request mass. Like, I don't want to go home. I can't go home.
Yeah.
Like, let me fight this, please. I'll do, like, just let me do this one event. Like, is there any way around it? Like, I've already proven myself on the other hikes. Like, what can I do? And she's like, that's when I got the reality check. And at that point, I didn't really understand the importance of your femur and how big of a bone it was.
Yeah.
And
the biggest one?
Yeah. She put
No big deal.
Yeah, no big deal. It's just a big bone.
Yeah. I distinctly remember one of my other candidates the whole time, because she was in there, like, something was wrong with her knee, I think. She's like, Cattell, it's your fucking femur. It's your femur. How'd you do that?
Yeah, that's no joke.
Baffled.
Well, you can die.
Yeah. And that's
Literally.
exactly what my platoon commander told me. She looked at me, she's like, Cattell, I know how badly you want this. I see that, and I know that you would be successful, but there is nothing here worth dying for. All it takes is one wrong step. And because it's right on the artery side, is where the fracture was. She's like, one wrong step, and you sever your artery, and you bleed out faster than we can get a corpsman to you. It's not worth it for training. Go home, heal, come back.
Right. Okay. So obviously. Okay. I was going to ask you, like, what then, what was the going back process like?
So I was medically dropped. Literally if I would have made it through the next day events, I would have had my EGA and commission, which I think was the hardest to deal with, that I made it all the way to the end, to that very last day. And
swept the rug right out from under you.
Yeah. I was extremely fortunate that I have a friend who is a commander in the Navy in Virginia. So I was dropped early morning on a Saturday, and they couldn't get me a flight back home until Monday. So I was able to go home with Clark and Sherry, to whom I am forever grateful for. And they helped me unwind. I think Sherry bought us Girl Scout cookies and made hot chocolate and vodka, and it was amazing. We played video games, and I hobbled around on crutches, and they took me out for. They told me I could eat whatever I wanted, and we went for burgers because that was the one thing we didn't have at OCS. And then got home, and that was a whole new. I was not prepared for the mental game of going home, because I went home, and like I said, I was on crutches. The world shut down from COVID. And I went from being wired on for 10 weeks straight, constantly on, high functioning, like high level of like functional stress, always going, like even in my sleep, I'm thinking like there's probably a couple nights I just screamed out like I staff sergeant, to dead stop. No purpose, nothing, no outlet. I couldn't work out. I was isolated with my parents, and I was stuck sitting in one spot because I wasn't supposed to go more than 100 feet on my crutches. It was one of the biggest mental hurdles I've ever dealt with in my life.
What was going through your head?
I was angry with the situation. I didn't understand why I had worked my ass off and had like another setback. I didn't understand why it happened. I was depressed because I couldn't move and I couldn't do any exercise. I couldn't see my friends. I wanted to see everyone, and I couldn't. And then I was still waking. There were times where I would be waking up yelling in my sleep because I thought I was still in the squad bay, in my rack, and just going stir crazy. And I was lost, completely lost. What next? How do I get back from this? I didn't even know what the healing process was like. I thought it was going to be 2-3 months tops. Ended up being almost a full year by the time I was fully healed. Ugh. Yeah.
Did you have to have surgery for it, or is it just heal on its own?
Luckily, it healed on its own. If it was super close to breaking all the way through. And if it had, then I would have had to, once again, metal rods, get pins and plates in there. But I was very fortunate that it didn't go all the way through. So it grew a natural calic over. Mm-hmm. And so now it's super femur. Now you can't break
super
it. Super
strong.
Yeah. So yeah. I can totally just jump off of buildings on this femur now, and I'll be fine.
Positive thing about bones. Impact makes it stronger.
Exactly.
So what got you through, you're stuck at home, like you said, there's no friends, you can't see people, the world's locked down. At what point did that turn around from the depression of it, and what got you through mentally? How did you fight through that? I started figuring out a lot of one-legged workouts to do. And on the deck, I picked myself up by my bootstraps, and I started doing light workouts on my deck. I had my mom's little yoga mat, her little 5-pound dumbbells. I think what also helped was my gym was amazing. Sonoma Strength Academy didn't rent out. A lot of the gyms were renting their equipment. Mm-hmm. Mm. They lent out equipment, no charge, to all of their members. And they gave me an assault bike to take home. So I was...
Demon bike.
Yes. So I was one-legged assault biking. I figured out how to do burpees on one leg. I was one-legged jump roping. I was just sitting on my butt and doing like dumbbell curls. And I think what truly really got me through that, once I started getting myself back on my feet, what really got me going again was my friend David Burkhalter, who introduced me to our friend who had the garage gym. And that became our tribe. That became my motivation, because it was a bunch of Marines pumping iron together and defying the lockdown orders and going in this garage and just super secretively working out together and just bullshitting with that dark humor that a lot of military and first responders have. Like, honestly, it was the dark humor, the picking on each other, the making fun of my freaking leg half the time, and just getting that community back that helped me put things back in perspective again.
That's awesome that you it's almost getting you back to baseline. What was your new normal? Like,
is that a thing?
you were your 10 weeks of normal, and then it was completely down the canyon, and then back to that. Obviously it's not going to be the same as OCS, but that camaraderie for you.
Yeah, that definitely put me back on the right. That, and there was a song that was Victory by
that was your One
Flame
Night
on
Max
Fire. That was
song, wasn't it?
That was Offspring.
That was Offspring.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was
okay,
Hammerhead. Get some. No, Victory. There's a song called Victory, and the lyrics were, I could have stayed down. I could have let it all take over me. I could have laid down. I'm totally going to butcher it now. Basically, it's the song, but I won't quit until the day I see victory. And it's just about like getting knocked down, and no matter what, you get back up. And that's just every time I get punched, roundhouse to the face by life, like, I don't stay down, I get back up. Even if it's a slow back up, I get back up. So that got me, between that song and my friends, it got me on the right path. And then ended up, fires came around again that summer for LNU. And that's where my fire career started. I was tired of what I was doing. I was baking a lot for the local sheriff's department, the police officers. Yeah. So what I do is my friend who's a sheriff would swing by, and he'd pick up all the baked goods, and then he'd go take them back to the station for everyone and all the first responders and everyone. And I'm like, this is my contribution. It's silly, but
I'm here
and I'm doing something. All right, no, I really got to do something now. And that's where I started looking at firefighting.
So baking got you into firefighting. So it does have to do with the cooking aspect.
I walked right into that.
and you were baking for cops. So, you know.
Sometimes I show you guys love only because I pity you. Shh, don't tell anyone I'm friends with cops.
But they made sure the kitchen was safe so you could go in there.
They secured the area.
So when did you start your journey for firefighting?
It was that summer during LNU. So that was the summer of what year are we in? 2020. That summer. Yeah, there we go. That's when I started considering, hey, look, why didn't I think of this before? Like, I jokingly actually told my friends Brad, Melissa, and Angel back at CrossFit when we all knew we were getting laid off that I just barged into one of their offices one day, like slammed the door open. I'm like, guess what, guys? Like, what? I'm going to be a firefighter when I grow up. Yeah. And I turned around and I walked out. And part of me was joking. And part of me actually like had been playing with the idea. But after the LNU, I was just tired of feeling essentially useless. While all these things while people were being evacuated and Cal Fire was like going in, rescuing people, and every department was. And so I started talking to some of my firefighter friends that I had, and they are like, oh, well, if you really want to dabble in this, these are the classes to take. Took like Introduction to Fire and EMR and Pre-Fire Academy, and also, which is like a two weekend long class that makes sure you're physically prepared, you can take orders, you're somewhat competent, and you're just not a total waste of space. And then I also reached out to Grayton, became a volunteer firefighter. And after I completed the pre-academy, I once again was voluntold to be their bulldog and help out. And I was class leader for that, so they liked my style, I guess. But that's when I really started getting into things, especially like more like wildland stuff, like chainsaws and just that grunt, like humping hose. And
I'm sorry, what?
Right. You heard that, right?
Excuse me?
Picking up and moving hoses.
Got it.
Like,
Sorry.
Get your mind out of the
My
gutter.
bad.
Oh, baby. So find them hot, leave them wet. So as soon as like we had like Wildland Day, I was just absolutely in love. I gave a class on how to field strip an MRE. I took a nap underneath like one of the rigs, one of the engines. It was awesome. And then once we started doing more of the structure stuff for the pre-academy, just naturally just fell in love with that as well. And it's that camaraderie once again, and doing something bigger than myself and having those coworkers that are also your family that I found all over again.
Absolutely. Well, and coming out of training and stuff too, did you feel like that really fulfilled that void of you didn't really get the chance to complete what you wanted to do, and then coming into the fire, did that, fill your soul the same way, you think?
Yes and no. There's still I'm gonna be honest, and it's hard for me to actually talk about. There's still a part of me that wants to go back to OCS and just freaking finish, because a lot of the guys at Devil Pups, they say they field promoted me officially to an honorary Marine, but you never actually earn the title. And so I have a lot of imposter syndrome, and I think I'm just at this point going to have to accept that that's not going to happen in my life. But I'm also very fortunate that I am considered part of the veteran community, and that I'm able to have these amazing friends through it. And that I freaking get to go shooting with Navy SEALs all the time now. I have a bunch of friends that went through Fallujah, and they're just the best. And so I'm getting all of the awesome things out of the Marine Corps, all the amazing things that veterans want to take away from it, without a lot of the bullshit of actually being in right now, and without going into politics. But under current leadership issues that are going on. Enough said about that.
Did you kind of have because this is a big thing, and I'll go into this later down the road with myself personally, but did you have that, because you didn't get to finish that, do you kind of have that this is all I know kind of thing? Like, for like cops, a lot of us have that. Well, I'm just a cop. That's all I can do, right? So if you're faced with that reality of you have to do something different, it's like, no, this was what I meant to do. I can't do anything else. Do you have that? Did you, or do you have that issue of realizing that you have more to you than the Marine Corps? If that makes any sense.
That totally makes sense. I think because I did have a career before the Marines, it was a lot easier to deal with getting out. So I know I'm capable of other professions, of finding other means to a life and a happy life. But for me, I think it's still always going to be, this is what I wanted. I wanted to finish this. I wanted to be in it. And unfortunately, that's just not where life has me. And I don't think that's where life's going to take me. But I'm a firm believer that God has a big plan and every single thing happens for a reason.
Yeah.
Without going through OCS, I never would have met half the people I met now. I wouldn't be a part of the Devil Pups program. I wouldn't also be a part of a new upcoming program that I'll tell you guys about later because it's still inception stage. It will be up and running in a couple months, but it's a much larger veteran outreach program. And that honestly is the huge part that fills my cup right there.
Yeah, we say that all the time, that everything happens for a reason, and you might not know it at the time why it's happening, and it sucks, especially like in your situation, like it's getting taken from you and you're not leaving on your terms.
There's no closure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's getting you're not giving it up. It's getting taken. So it's that, like, that competitive, that anger. But you, like you said, you do have these other things. So it seems like this is the path you were meant to go on. And has finding these things kind of, you're, like you said, you're always going to have that little bit of, but has that stuff helped like heal that wound, help kind of close that a little bit, finding those things?
Yeah, completely. It's, finding everything really has helped deal with that and helped heal that wound. The only time it really even bothers me is dealing with some of the older veterans that still don't even really talk to you because you're a woman, sort of thing. And I'm like, don't get me wrong, I'm not ever pulling the feminist sexist card, like I will hang with the boys. It's just sometimes it just bothers me when you like look right past me and you assume that I'm the wife of one of the instructors rather than I'm running the program. So that's the only time it ever gets to me, just because I'm like, well, on a certain level, like they're in my mind on a certain level, they are completely within their right to do that because I'm not technically a Marine. And that hurts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
That's rough.
I mean, I have like I said, all my friends like have classified me as one, but I don't physically have that EGA. It's not in my hand.
Yeah.
Like it was 24 hours away. But getting these connections and the Devil Pups program and finding fire is making a huge difference.
Yeah, it's a bigger picture.
Yeah.
And especially I cannot cheer you on enough to have changed these kids' lives. Like it takes a certain kind of person to, especially troubled kids, like that's a like I said before, saint-like. Like it takes a certain kind of person.
Thank you.
So what is next? We'll talk about project offline, but I know you're coaching. Do you have any competitions coming up? Do you have any goals? Do you have anything you're shooting for?
I got Fire Academy coming up on January 24th.
All right.
Yeah. Santa Rosa Junior College, you better watch out. So that's my main focus right now. That's my main driving and training factor, my current why at the gym. And that's what I've adapted my training for. I am looking to do another powerlifting meet probably next November. And then still kind of waiting for some of the CrossFit competitions to fully ramp up again. Now people are kind of still navigating that COVID situation. So I just did a Spartan though in Hawaii. That was really cool. Shout out to the owner of Spartan for donating tickets to the Devil Pups to go do that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Another buddy of ours did that one too.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
So powerlifting meet in November.
Mm-hmm.
We'll talk about that.
Oh yeah.
Because that'll be fun. How long is Fire Academy?
This is the intensive Fire Academy, so it starts at the end of January and goes till the end of April. So it's only about 3 months, but it's Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m.
And a lot of cooking.
The cooking classes are extra.
All right. So, like I said before, we like to give our guests a minute at the end of the show. And this is basically, if you can give advice to anybody to help them through those dark times, help them get over those hurdles, what advice would you give somebody to help push them through?
Like I said, everything happens for a reason, whether you can see it now or not. So when you get knocked down, get back up. And you're the only one that can pull yourself back up too. You can have support from friends, but it's all you. Even if it's small steps, get those steps going, because you're going to regret not getting back up. And if anything, that setback, you should use to fuel your fire even more, get more hyped up, and go out on the attack.
I like it.
Solid.
Very, very Jocko.
You picked that up.
Very Jocko.
Good. The good video is one of my absolute favorites, and also got me through a lot.
Yeah, good is I live by that video.
Mm-hmm.
By that little, I guess you call it a monologue. Man, that's good times. Well, thank you so much for joining the show.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Appreciate it. Everybody listening, don't forget, subscribe, like the show, listen, share it, give us a rating so we can move up the charts, rankings. I don't know what they call them, but we can get to more people so we can get these really cool, amazing stories out. We want to thank our sponsor, as always, 9 Realms Athletics, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, 9realmsathletics.com, and use promo code MANIFEST for discount on your next order. And if you guys know anybody who has a cool story, you got a story you want to share, anything that you think would be helpful to get out to other people to help change somebody's life, might pick somebody up, shoot us a message, DM, text, whatever it is, get a hold of us. We'd love to talk to you. We'd love to talk to them and get that story out to other people.
That's right.
All right. Well, thank you guys for joining the show. Thank you, Kristen. And we will catch you guys on the next one.
Thanks, guys.